layout for Tuesdays in the Attic. No, you are right. It is not Tuesday today. I'm actually working backwards because I didn't get the Tuesday, February 28th layout or the March 7th layout up. And so I'm working a little bit backwards, and I'm going to have all of them up this week so that everything is kind of caught up starting for next week. It's March, it's craziness. I feel like I say that every single March as soon as dance competition season starts up and, birthdays. It's a big birthday month for us. So, just playing a little bit of catch up, but I really wanted to show you this layout because I'm so excited that I used these papers. This is the Echo Park, what is the collection called? I can't remember. But essentially it's their, it could be called Once Upon a Time or something like that. It's kind of bookish, but also has a lot of knights and princes and princesses and fairy tale kind of feeling to it. There's some Peter Pan and other things like that. And just a great kind of literature type collection, and great for scrapping pictures of our littles reading their books and that type of thing. So that is the collection that I'm using. It was all put into my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit for March, which the theme is books, and so this worked out really good. And I'm pairing it with this week's, or I guess March 7th's, Freaky Fast Friday formula. Jacqie went through and just kind of went back to the very beginning of the Scraproom's Freaky Fast formulas, and so she's put them all, kind of organized them all, and we're just working our way through them. That is what Tuesdays in the Attic is all about. So this week, the measurements, there were only 3 of them. And so we had to have a 5-inch square, and then we had, what was this one? This one was like 3 by 5, I think, kind of a smaller piece, and then or 3 1/4. I think it was 3 1/4 by 5. You saw it at the very beginning. I showed them in case I'm not getting this right. And then the last one was 1 1/2 by 12. So some different measurements, kind of, a little bit smaller, and just kind of fun. Every week it's a ton of fun trying to put it all together and figure out what you're going to use. So just those 3 cuts, and then I also added the card from that cut apart sheet. I just really liked what it said, and so I wanted to add that sort of more as an embellishment than a paper layer, but no rules, so you can keep adding and going. The formula is literally just a jumping off point to help kind of get you started, and where you want to take it from there is totally up to you. So I decided I didn't want to really cut into the night paper too much, or I guess, is it called night paper? It's on one side it was the castles, and then on the other side it's the storybook. It's actually a story that's just written, and so I wanted to keep a bunch of that. I didn't want to cut into it too much. It would have made a beautiful background, but Landon was a knight for Halloween, this past Halloween in 2022, and so I really wanted to keep a bunch of that paper so that I could use it for some Halloween layouts. So I made that the 3 by 5 piece, or 3 1/2 by 5, or whatever that measurement was. And then I used both sides of the book paper, so it's just that plain red on one side, and then of course the bookshelves on the other side. So I picked the bookshelves as my background paper, but then I just cut that little 5 by 5 square out of one section of it so that I could flip it and have the red pattern. And then the blue paper actually comes from a different collection. It comes from the Finders Keepers Libris Schmibris collection, and there is a bit of blue in this collection, in the Echo Park collection. There's like a navy blue, and so I thought that would work really good. And again, I didn't love the other patterns for this particular picture, so I figured I'd go ahead and just grab from a different collection. So that's where that blue paper came from. And it's just a bunch of authors, famous authors' names, all written in different fonts and sizes and stuff like that. And it's tone on tone blue. So it sort of blends into the background. I almost feel like it's a little kind of like the spine of a book. So I think it just worked out good. And yeah, that's where that blue came from. It just grounds everything. And then, of course, where I cut the hole in my paper sort of dictated where I would be putting the majority of these papers to obviously cover that hole up. And then the pictures are 3 little pictures of Landon. It did say, just as a suggestion, it doesn't do this in every formula, but it did kind of give the extra suggestion in this week's formula to maybe add 3 large photos. And so I didn't really have 3 large photos, but I knew I had 3 photos. So that's sort of where that came from. I specifically went looking for at least 3 photos that I could use. And then finding these pictures of Landon is what brought me to the papers and kind of brought everything all together. So the pictures are of him getting his book. He gets a free book every month from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and he loves them. They're so, so cute. It's definitely a big event every month when it comes in the mail that he gets his own mail, and it's just really sweet. It's a program that obviously Dolly Parton put on, but also the Métis Nation of Alberta. So if you know anyone who is Métis in Alberta and under the age of 5, they also qualify. So that's really neat. And so this one was The Little Engine That Could, and he was just super excited because he also loves trains. So it just worked out perfect. And I really wanted to be able to document that. And then I love that the books in the paper are sort of your childhood classics. And so I think that obviously The Little Engine That Could is definitely a childhood classic. So even though it's not a fairy tale or fantasy or anything like that, it still all kind of fits and ties in really well. So that is the story of that. And you just saw me go ahead and layer those 3 pieces of paper and then the card. And then I went into, excuse me, I don't know if you can hear, I am not feeling great, so I'm a little bit congested, so I apologize for that. I went into my not Finders Keepers, sorry, Feed Your Crafts little ephemera that I have, and I found a couple of elements that kind of match the right colors. So I found these little, they're supposed to be like little pins. So like pins on a cork board or that type of thing. And then also a heart and a label and a bookmark. So I pulled all of those out. They're kind of in that right light blue color, except the heart is in more of a teal, but I actually thought it kind of is a nice bit of a contrast. And then I also found in one of my ephemera packs the large red arrow and the red, teal, red star grouping that you see up there. And the 2 teals matched really well, so I figured I'll go ahead and pull that out. And what else did I pull out? Oh, and then I also went into my Wild Whisper One More Chapter collection and pulled out some ephemera there and just grabbed a quote that I could put in because all of the reds really matched nicely. So that's where all of my bits of ephemera came from. I don't really have, I don't know, I wasn't really aiming for a specific like 3 clusters or a visual triangle or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to put things where I felt like they fit, and also they're sort of all roughly sitting on shelves. So even though I have some layers in there and it's hard to tell, I did kind of want them close to the shelves so that they sort of line up a little bit and look like maybe they're sitting on the shelves that are going in behind my photo cluster. I also dog-eared that top left-hand corner because that's kind of a book thing, and I just thought it would be an extra fun little bit of interest and an element that kind of brings some direction to the layout, and just, I don't know, broke things up so it wasn't just a big kind of matte all paper layout. And then to cover up that corner where I dog-eared, I decided to add some book pages. So that's what you saw me ripping out there. That's exactly what it's intended for. So I wasn't ripping a book that is a beloved book or anything like that. I purchased this book specifically to be able to do that. And then I kind of just folded up that right hand side. Sorry, that's your left hand side. Folded up that left hand side and added the amount of book page that I needed to make sure that it was still 12 by 12. And I also did just a little bit of a rip down at the bottom so that the book page element sort of carried somewhere else in the layout. And yeah, that's kind of it. I'm finishing it off with a title that says new book. You can see little man is helping me out there, putting down the letters. And he also loved that I pulled out my little teeny tiny gold star sequins from Wild Whisper and Spiegel Mom Scraps, and I added a few little clusters of that instead of larger sequins. I did also punch out of the book page some other stars. Obviously, stars go good with book layouts because we rank our books. We rate them using the star system. So I like to use stars whenever I'm documenting any kind of reading or books or anything like that. And yeah, I'm just going to finish it off with a little bit of gold kind of sketchy lines in there because my title is in gold and there's some gold foil on the card that I cut out, and so I wanted to have that element in there in a few different places. So I'm basically outlining everything, just giving some definition to all of those little elements. And that's it. That is this layout. It came together really, really quickly. Once I had all the pieces kind of put together and I knew where I had to put my papers, everything else just kind of all fell into place. The colors worked out and I happened to have all the right letters to make that title. And yeah, it kind of came together pretty quickly and I really love it. Definitely a different layout for me. It's going to look great in my albums. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out Jacqie's link below so you can see what she created with this formula. And I will be back again tomorrow with February 28th. So until then, happy scrapping. Bye.
Thanks to me. To my channel.